Our society is built upon the question and answer form. We can't just leave a question unanswered. So why haven't we been able to answer one of our biggest questions? What does it take to become a better leader? I'm going to argue that it doesn't take anything to become a leader. From the moment you were born, you were a leader, even if the only person you led was yourself. Perhaps what this question is really asking is, how does one become a better leader? Society's classes often have a pyramid shape. The low class is at the bottom and then progressing upwards. Is it possible that this is the same with the classes or levels of leadership? That the lower classes are more often than not as strong as leaders as the classes above them. Yet within each class there are levels of leadership, and within each family there is a level of leadership. From the traditional father being the head of the household to the mother leading the children, and the older children leading the younger. This pyramid of leadership can be brought down all the way to an individual. So there is always room for a person to learn and improve themselves in order to become a better leader. So how does someone rise? To answer this question, we must turn to the past, to the blueprint text of the Western culture's good versus evil. We turn to Beowulf. Beowulf is faced with 3 battles, 3 instances where he is challenged. These 3 battles work together as a cycle to better Beowulf and create a better leader within him. Beowulf starts off as a fierce warrior who is conquered in the past. He is a leader with followers and a reputation, yet he has not improved. He has a backpack full of repeat stories of him going underwater and defeating sea monsters. Over and over again, he relies on only himself to outpower a monster, to gain fame and awe. As a result, when Beowulf comes to Heorot to defeat Grendel, he has an air that the fight is already won. He has fought so many monsters in the past that he wants more from this battle. He strips himself of all armor and weaponry to show the world that he can defeat monsters without the help of anyone, even through technology. Beowulf uses his raw self to fight Grendel. He does beat Grendel, and his legend grows on. At this point of time, Beowulf is a low-level leader. He had followers that followed his lead, and in that sense he was a leader. However, he had not pushed himself to better his leadership skills, and nobody was really benefiting. When Beowulf seeks out Grendel's mother in her dark lair, he approaches it in a different manner than before. He takes the sword from a comrade and wears the armor that he had. When battling this she-monster, he was saved by his armor and a sword. In order for Beowulf to defeat the monster, he needed to use other people's handiworks. So what does this do for Beowulf as a leader? It humbled him. He had lived in the false reality that he was invincible. Grendel's mother crumbled these grand notions and forced him to rely on his followers' skills with their metalwork. During Beowulf's final battle, he was faced with a fierce dragon. His followers were not as supportive of his decision to fight this monster. They had grown a love for him and wanted him to stay safe. Beowulf knew that fighting this dragon was most likely going to be much more difficult than the other challenges he had faced. But he still went in and put his life on the line. This time, because Beowulf had been previously forced to accept that he needed other people below him, just like they needed him, he went in as a sacrifice for his followers. He knew that he was the best fit to fight the dragon, and that the kingdom needed to be saved. So he put his life on the line in order to do what he could to save them. In this battle, Beowulf was greatly injured. Neither his raw self, nor himself with the help of others' skills in metalwork, were powerful enough to defeat the dragon. Wiglaf, a loyal follower of Beowulf, came rushing in to the aid of his leader and helped him to defeat the dragon. This battle forced Beowulf to not only accept the help from his followers' skills, but to share the victories with them. Beowulf had started his leadership journey as a stubborn and big-headed man who did not want anyone else to have his glory. Because of this, it took his challenges and monsters almost defeating him in order for him to change. In the end, he did change, however, only just before he died. After Beowulf died, the leadership journey did not end. Wiglaf had come to Beowulf's rescue and had defeated the dragon with his own raw self. That was the start to Wiglaf's leadership journey. So as one leader is improving, he starts the improvement of one of his followers. This cycle creates an upward spiral for an entire community. The start of a ruler's leadership journey will end up pulling even the infants in the lowest classes to become better leaders. This is started by a leader, and if this leader neglects to accept the challenges, the whole community, or in this case kingdom, pays for it. The king of Herat was ruled by fear and defeat. He had given up battling Grendel, and therefore his leadership journey was ended before it even started. His cycle consisted of a failed attempt to defeat a monster. Nobody benefited and nobody grew. The king was at the top of his social pyramid. He was the leader of all leaders. Everyone was looking up to him, yet he was a failure of a leader. He failed in defeating his monsters, and that predestined the other leaders under him to fail. Beowulf came from far away to rescue that kingdom, and as a result, was more of a king and leader to those people than their own king ever was. So this pyramid class system, aligned with the levels of leadership, have the power to be extremely strong, but also to crumble by the shortcomings of a single person. The ongoing spiral works down the classes as a strengthener, creating stronger leaders. Within each stronger leader, there is also a stronger follower. For example, Wiglaf was able to be loyal to Beowulf because he was an example to Wiglaf of a leader. Yet if one person stops the chain, the rest of the people below him will suffer. So how does one rise to become a better leader? He must first be loyal. But most importantly, he must accept the challenges in front of him and the help provided to him by his community.
I'm holding on your rope, got me 10 feet off